This is the What the Ruck Rugby podcast with Angus Opperman.
And so the Stormers finally got a win on the road. Guys, I am so relieved personally. It's always a case of you don't know what to expect, even though you expect the worst sometimes, especially when they tour overseas. At home at DHL Stadium, I'm very confident that these boys will get the job done. But when it comes to overseas tours, not always the case. So a first win for us since last season. The back end where we played against, I think it was Connacht and the Dragons respectively. But even for large parts of that game, I think the score was 3-0 up until, I'm not sure, I think the 30th minute. And eventually we chipped away to 9-0. And even then it wasn't too comfortable because previous games as well overseas, we had a 10-point buffer, even last week against the Ospreys as well. And we blew it, so there's no guarantees that even a 10-point buffer is enough, especially early in the game, to see you home. So quite relieved the boys got the job done. Halftime, or before halftime, I thought 9-0, it's okay, you've got a one-score buffer. And then the Stormers came with the ultimate line-out trickery. Whether it's legal or not, that's up for the law experts to decide. It's not my forte. But some brilliant trickery being done in the line. Okay, Kumarabe with the NFL-style dummy. Even fooled me. I thought he had the ball. Next moment I saw Paul de Wet break through. Zaz got the ball from him, and yeah, that was it, So it was quite a nice try. But I thought at 16-0 halftime, I was like, okay, you know what? I think we got this. 9-0 is one thing. 16, I think psychologically we actually edged Zebre. And to the credit, they kept one into the fight up until like the 60th minute before we actually got a few scores on the board as well. I was hoping for a donut, a 0 on their side, but Simone Gese got their 5-pointer. Bit of a, wouldn't say lucky one, but more opportunistic than anything else. But 36-0 would have been a great score, I think. But 36-5 ain't too bad after all. But anyway, let's get into what happened in this match. So, just looking at the stats as we did the last time, 22-meter entry, Zebre had 4 and scored an average of 1.2 points. So, not too great. But the Stormers had 10 entries, and again, this is my concern. And the same thing happened last week as well. The conversion rate, guys, it is a problem for me because we need to convert our opportunities, especially in the red zone. 10 22-meter entries, 2.7 points score. That means it's not even if you told me that you had 10 entries and you had 5 points scored, even there it would be like unacceptable. But 2.7 points score for all those entries is something else. I know stats can be skewed, and I think we scored more from outside of 22. But once you get into that red zone, you need to make sure you convert, whether it's a 3-pointer, whether it's a 5-pointer or a 7-pointer. Make sure you get points out of it. You work so hard to get there, and then don't botch it. Again, we go back to last week. We were centimeters from the line, and the Ospreys got the penalty and ended up winning the game by 13 points. We could have won it by 6 or by 1. Sorry, we were 6 points behind. So it's small margins, and we just don't seem to round these things off. And it kind of worries me going into a match against a very wounded Edinburgh side who came back from a very unsuccessful tour to South Africa, getting their bums handed to them by the Bulls and the Lions. So, if Edinburgh clicks on the day, who knows? We need to be up for our game this Saturday. Other stats that also stood out for me, the carries, Zebre at 54 to the Stormers 100. That's almost double we had over them. And I don't think we actually made use of all those carries or all that momentum. But to their credit, they actually defended well for the most part, Zebre. They really throw themselves out there, and especially I think coming off a high against Munster, beating them by that record margin, they would have been up for this match against us as well. It would have been quite a feat to have beaten the 2023 and 2022 champions 2 weeks in a row, but it wasn't to be for them. Also, line breaks, Zebre had 3, Stormers had 5, which it does complement their defense again. 5 line breaks, that's not a lot in an 80-minute contest, especially considering the type of opposition that Zebre are. Not taking anything away from them, but I have been the bottom of the lot for the last couple of seasons. So to deny the Stormers only 5 line breaks, that's quite remarkable, I feel. Turnovers lost, Zebre lost 13, Stormers lost 9, and also turnovers won, Zebre won 4, the Stormers only won 2. And I mentioned this last week, why did the Stormers let Nama Xaba go? Why? There's no Dion Fourie, and I'm sure the turnovers one stat would be much more where he was playing, and also Steven Kitsoff. But we let probably the best future, or young future, I should say, in the country go to the Bulls. And he's thriving there, and I'm happy for him because he never got the game time he deserved at the Stormers. I think he only played 22 matches in 3 seasons. And a large part of that's because of injury, but even when he was available, he didn't get opportunity. So, I mean, good on Nama, but I would have loved him to still see him in the Stormer jersey. But unfortunately, it's not the case, and I think we are going to pay the price for going forward, especially in the breakdown areas, and especially playing against sides like a Leinster and a Glasgow, who are very good on the ground as well. But looking forward to this weekend's match against Edinburgh. Obviously, they didn't have the best South African tour. They took quite a bit against the Lions, I think 54 points, and it could have been way worse. I mean, credit to them for fighting back in the second half after being 48-0 down. The Bulls gave them a good hiding as well. So they're on a 3-match losing streak. First match they lost against Leinster in round 1. Obviously our team started a week later because of the Currie Cup final. But I mean, Edinburgh back home again. They did well against Leinster in that first round. Even though they lost, I don't think the score was reflective of how tight that game actually was. So we need to respect these guys. I think it's good we got a win on the road, but we also need to acknowledge the fact that we aren't at our best yet, and hopefully we improve on this weekend's performance, and also we get another 4 or 5 points on the log heading back to Cape Town when we have a bit of a home run. Not for too long, but I mean, DHL Stadium always has been a fortress for us. So I'm very much looking forward to this match this weekend. We'll probably have a bit more of an idea where this match might go when we get the team announcements, but I think for now, if I have to give a prediction, I'll never let go against my team unless I really know they're out of it. So I'll give it to the Stormers within 7 points, maybe 4 points. Yeah, going to be tight. I think the breakdown battle is going to be crucial. Like I mentioned, our stat doesn't look too great in terms of turnovers, even won or lost. So we need to work on that. It's something we need to work on. I think our attack is getting better. I think that we had a much more balanced approach in this game against Zebre, in terms of how we want to play and which objectives we want to achieve. So, yeah, go Stormers this weekend. All the best to the boys. And, you guys let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this match, this past weekend's one, and also the one coming up. And we'll talk soon next week. Cheers.
This is the What the Ruck Rugby podcast with Angus Opperman.